I did something stupid. Yeah. I did something stupid. Yeah. I did something stupid. Yeah. Fucking hear myself. Fucking hear myself. That was my Twitch. That's what happened. Twitch on my browser. That's what happened. Twitch on my browser. That's what happened. Twitch on my browser. Oh, I didn't unmute it still. God damn it. Trying to. I forget. What is like a lower capacity file? PNG. PGM, no, PNG image. How much data did that cost? It cost more somehow. Holy shit. Alright, export as... Try with the fucking JPEG. Export... fucking V2. Like 85. See how that does? No, I don't need the fucking data. All right. Wow, what the fuck? Wow, a 10% image quality adjustment is the difference between what is this scaling? At 96% quality, it's 1.8. But then all the way at 100, it becomes 3. What the fuck is this? All right, fine. Export. Fucking save. Go to the video details. Change to... Alright, that fixed it, because I realized I was still using the EU4 thumbnail on my stream thumbnails. So. Oh, good, it's on my Observer account. Just had this open. I don't know, I was just gonna see what this was, because apparently I heard Narissa's dad is a fucking gun nut, so let's see what happened here.
Well, let's move on. Do you go to the shooting range? And if so, what is...
This had auto-Korean subtitles fucking on it for some reason, and also Japanese subtitles. So I guess this is meant for a Japanese audience. Oh, most of the description is in Japanese. Kampagi. Alright.
What's your favorite gun?
So I've been thinking about this one. Yeah.
Alright, so this is exact. I think I've heard this before, but I might as well hear it again. So what is your favorite gun, Narissa? Father-son?
Yes, I go to the shooting range. If you ask me what my favorite gun is, it's either the 50 cal or...
A Madus. Now he said 50 cal, that's a caliber, but what do you shoot that with other than the M2 Browning, aka the Madus? Or do you shoot with the Barrett 50 cal?
The Thompson submachine gun.
He just said 50 cal, so like where do you get your hands on the on an M2? All right, I never touched that thing when I was even on a ship that had them, because the guns are pretty well handled, pretty well secure. The Thompson submachine gun. Where do you get one of those?
But if you want to know the favorite gun that I own, then that's probably gonna be my new 300 Blackout.
300 again. He's just talking like. In terms of calibers, not gun. What platform shoots 308.308 Blackout? All right, hold on. What the fuck gun shoots a 308 Blackout? Maybe this just shows how much of a green whore I am to firearms, but what type of guns shoot blackout. That's just a cartridge, right? American Ammunition Company Blackout is just a cartridge, specifically a rifle cartridge developed for by an advanced armament corporation. Okay, so not because I was watching Grand Thumb's video today on like some weird 22 caliber bullet. These like two weird variants of it. The one that like I guess have explosives that are meant to kill varmints. And he's always sponsored by America's Ammunition Company, whose initials are also AAC. So Advanced Armament Corporation in 2011. It's based on a necked up .223 Remington or 5.56 NATO case. So necked up. So it's got less volume in the unnecked part, but shortened to fit the standard AR-15 magazines and bolt faces. It was designed to deliver 300 caliber, 30 caliber performance like a 7.62 by 39mm from AR-15 platforms with minimal changes, usually just a barrel swap. Okay, so I'm understanding now what 300 Blackout is meant for. So is the bullet size not the same? I guess this is really showing how much I agree. Performance with heavy bullets, grains plus suppressor equals very quiet, Hollywood quiet with the right setup. Supersonic loads rivals 7.62 ballistics. What do you mean by ballistics? Like speed or impact force? I mean, drops into an AR with 300 Blackout barrel, same bolt and magazines, not interchangeable 5.56 without dedicated barrel. So it's mainly for an AR-15 platform. All right, so I'm learning more myself right now. I probably know more than like the average fucking VTuber. Maybe Sleepy could, EP Sleepy could like completely school me, but I watched enough shit of like GunTuber stuff to probably know more than most normies about firearms. SIG, MCX, Rattler, Q Honey, Badger, Daniel Defense, DDM4 300S. Pistols with 7 to 10. What the fuck? SB short barreled rifle less than 16-inch barrels requires NFA tax stamp. All right. I don't know where I would get one of these. Rifle, 16-inch plus barrels, e.g. Ruger American Ranch Palmetto State Armory builds. Barrels, e.g. Ruger American Ranch Palmetto State Armory builds. Ruger American Ranch. Under swap on any standard AO, upper swap on any bolt action rifles, okay. AK platform, pistols. Again, non-AR pistols. What the fuck is an AR pistol? Shit. I'm not going to answer that. Single shot is specialty. Thompson Center Encore H&H handy rifle budget options. Suppress only platforms. SIG MCX Vitreous Rattler designed to run 300 Blackout plus suppressor. Q Honey Badger integrated suppressor. If you're buying, never mix 5.56 and 300 Blackout uppers on the same lower without clear labeling. Catastrophic failures can occur in fire if you fire or vice versa. All right, good to know. All right. That diatribe aside,
I don't know. You just like said nothing to me. You just said a lot of.
Well, to be fair, I had to look up what he was saying either because he was talking purely. He said is a 50 cal, which is just the cartridge size, the Thompson submachine gun, which is 45 ACP, but I know what that is, and then 300 Blackout, which I had to get the quick and dirty from Grok right now.
Like meaningless. When it sounds like when people talk about Gundams. I know a few Gundams, right? And like what they are, but generally sometimes people are like, this is the blah, 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 blah.
Multifunctional self-protection wind-up. Why? Okay, I guess. Active electronically scanned array, electronically scanned array automation eyes. Electronically scanned array, that is a thing that exists in, whatchamacallit, in radars these days. 3mm rolled homogeneous paper armor. Rolled armor. Like, yeah, you do that with metal, but not cardboard. Armor piercing, discarding otomos.
And I'm like, what?
Fin stabilized, discarding armored otomos.
That's a Browning 50 caliber. That means the bullet is a half-inch in diameter.
Let me clarify. I don't care either.
Wow, way to be disrespectful to your dad right there.
Well, let me explain it to you anyway.
No,
There you go.
I don't care enough. Let's move on. I'm already tired of this conversation. You've already melted my brain.
Motherfucker, it's just like a simple explanation, and maybe like half of your Japanese fans don't even know what the fuck it's talking about. Oh, I like this is how I'm in my... Oh, let's see here. I play Greenland, so you don't have to. What the fuck? Let's see here. Outdoor Boys. Oh, Perun talking about Algeria. I remember a tweet like maybe a month or two back saying like Algeria is not like is sort of like underlooked at for whatchamacallit, a country that that is Russian, not necessarily Russian aligned, but they definitely have been buying a shit ton of Russian equipment to include the Su-57 Felon. You know, I actually went to Grok and asked this insane scenario. If let's say, like the western part of the Maghreb, unified under some Islamic caliphate, ISIS wannabe type ×2, or iteration 2, and then decide to start waging war on fucking Mediterranean Europe and capturing slaves because they're that ideologically fucking insane. And they have full access to all of Algeria's military equipment. And I threw in Tunisia for the mess. I went a little bit overboard with it, but like, you know, it's like thinking like, because I thought of the scenario, like what happens with like Algeria fighting some war, a conventional war between the likes of France and Italy, how would that go? Because they do have their own level of equipment to work with. Oh, look at my... Good. All right, back out. Wait, how do I go to? I should be streaming. Let me see it here. All right, there. Just need to test, make sure my chats are functional. Whoever the heck my other second viewer is in here in Twitch. Hello. So I haven't watched many of Peru's videos as of late. And everyone is sponsored by Grand News these days. I don't know. Alright, fucking... Lumi Short.
So today's agenda? Man, I feel like we need...
For me, it's do my usual news headlines, commentary, and then EU5 because I need to dig more of my teeth into that game.
to play game. I'm looking at a game and I really don't want to do it. Let's do literally anything else other than that game.
Metal Gear, not Metal Gear Solid, what is it? Gears of War. God, I remember when that was like the highlight of like the early 2010s.
We haven't done the crossword, Lumi.
She wants to do a crossword? I'm not a fan of crosswords.
We want the crossword.
She breaking out the depressed face?
You want to do it? No. Not if you make that face. No. What did you do to your face? I have new face rigging.
I don't understand my face rigging at all. I got it from the guy Beliak in my fucking Twitter bio, and that's it. So any extra details? Like I am like grimacing hard with my teeth open here, but it's not reflected. I don't know how you would even track that because I'm like pulling my lips all the way back so you can see my pearly whites. But on the rigging, it's just showing across as my mouth is open. So it seems to be able to tell my lips from my teeth, so... So I can show my lips fully apart to the camera, and it'll keep my... On the rigging, it'll show my mouth open, but it won't follow my teeth, which I guess is interesting. That would be like an extra interesting layer, is I can open my mouth and manipulate my teeth. Alright, what the fuck else she has to say?
It's pretty cool. It's good. I like it. I'm excited.
Alright. Fuck, what's going on? Sand strikes bipartisan deal. Oh, did that finally fucking happen? Oh, they worked on a Sunday? Holy shit! A bipartisan Senate group, including Senators August King, Jean Shaheen, and Maggie Hansen, reached an agreement late Sunday to fund the government through January, ending the longest shutdown in U.S. history. Do they need the House to pass it? Because, like, the whole thing is, like, Speaker Johnson has been, like, saying, we gave you a clean resolution, you're gonna fucking take it. And I'm gonna keep the House suspended until then, until you pass it. So he was really following Trump, like, he was, like, being dead set. I don't know if he's exactly, like, following Trump's orders, but it's not like Trump has, like, made anything saying that, oh, the House should come up with something to, a new funding bill. Reached an agreement late Saturday to fund the government through January, till the end of January. So that's through the holiday season, because if anything, I'm flying back up to the Northeast, to my home where I grew up with my parents for Thanksgiving weekend. I am going to fry a fucking turkey. And I was already thinking, like, am I going to have to burn some paid time off to leave work at 12 to get to the airport by 1 in order to get to the airport by probably like 1:30 and then spend 4 hours waiting to actually get through security and check my bag. So hopefully if this passes, to fund the government through January. All right, so that'll take care of most of holiday travel. So if it's through January up till that, then I guess I should be safe for traveling, because also I'll probably go back up for Christmas as well. I'm going to go to Holiday Matsuri in Florida as like a last hurrah of my con burst. We're just going to cons nonstop this year. I mean, it was pretty dry after Anime Frontiers. I didn't do much after that. Then again, I was kind of like a little bit out of it with doing driving to the other side of Houston for 45 minutes in the morning and afternoon for one big project we were working on. So yeah, I didn't have it in me, but I did commit to going to Off-Kai and Tokyo X the week before that. So that was the old ramp up. And then there was San Japan a little bit later after that, and holiday anime what is it? Anime Matsuri in Houston. So someone I did have to travel for. But good, my holiday plans are taken care of, so we don't have to risk angering the public during one of the more high traffic flight areas when people are mostly flying, that being Thanksgiving and then the holiday season beyond that. So getting past that issue. That's the one thing I cared about this. The rest of my day, nothing has happened for everyone. For anyone who had to use flights, it's been a nightmare. It offers the question, like, should air traffic controlling be privatized? Maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't, so that we don't have to do this on airport security too. Like, I'm pretty sure. All right, let me ask this question. 4/9/11 didn't airports do security themselves? I'm correct. Before September 11 terrorist attacks, airport security in the United States was primarily handled by private companies contracted by individual airlines or airports, but not by centralized federal agencies like the TSA. This system was in place under Federal Aviation Administration oversight, but enforcement was decentralized with minimal federal standards, leading to inconsistent, often lax procedures across the country. The contracts typically went to the lowest bidder, resulting in underpaid, minimally trained staff, often 12 hours of training focused on cost-cutting than robust security. Yeah, that sounds like the neoliberal era. Who handle it? Private contractors. Training 100 plus hours. Well, can we not, like, you know, just do that again of privatizing it, but set standards and, you know, have like the federal government like far more involved? Like, we're gonna do checks on you randomly. Like, we're gonna try and we're literally gonna put a block of C4 in this bag, and then you say, and you know, if they don't catch it, I'm walking right over to your supervisor and saying, hey, you're shut down for the day. Fuck you and your profits. I snuck in a. Like, I can imagine, like, what'll happen is a government officer, like, test case will go through air security with something purposely meant to get caught in his bag. it not go through. And if it goes through and nobody notices anything, he takes the bag, walks right up, busts into security, shows a badge, and throws open the desk and say, "You're shut down for 12 hours as like a punishment for that, and all flights are canceled because you got let me through with this block of C4 in my bag." That may be a little bit too crazy. Regardless, maybe this might be a need to push for privatization, of course, with strict standards. So just take whatever the fuck the standards that the TSA is operating at right now and just say, this is what all companies must meet in order to be a company that does security services at airports. Then again, airports are not like, the absolute, because they are geographically limited places, they're not as free a market as something like cell phones. I remember earlier this week, my acquaintance Anechoic Media was pointing like, why is houses constantly risen? Meanwhile, phones and electronics have gotten cheaper. It's because the need for land for housing, apartment or homes to buy is limited. There's a finite amount of land that you can't exactly get quality. You can't get the same scaling you do with manufactured goods. Ticketed passengers and all right, hold up. Ticketed passengers only, gate passes rare. Anyone familiar could enter post security, no boarding pass is needed. Maybe keep that. Box cutters, small knives, 4 inches, tools last, strict bands, blades, liquids, 3.4 ounces. Also, I'm pretty sure like we've done testing in the past for airport security, and like 90% of the time they go through, but nothing changes. Like they do, like the federal government stress tests its own TSA agents, and like shit happens. But then again, half of what the point of security is theater to scare the low-hanging fruit who think they could try and pull something off. Like half of security is just theater or presence at most to say there's somebody there who has the potential to stop you and fuck you up if you screw this up. That dissuades like, the lowest level. Like I'm thinking to one movie in the Dirty Harry series where there's a plane hijacking with like 2 random Arab dudes with revolvers taking over a plane, and then Harry has like a probably way too cavalier way of handling it in all retrospect. But then again, that was the fucking 70s, so God knows if they even had proper tactics to deal with that anyways. I still have a bit of a headache right now from coming off COVID. I don't know what I did today. I'm chugging water right now. Maybe I should also drink some electrolyte water. Where's I going with this? So, probably like basic presence like this stuff. What the TSA does now would discourage like a low person from sneaking through with their badge. So we have some pretty good systems in place. Maybe they could be lax in some way, actually made better in other ways to actually catch stuff. But just take the standards we have now and say private companies have to meet these standards. If they don't, they're going to get fined out the ass and ass blast their profits. But then there's also air traffic controllers. Again, same thing. There's a lot of air traffic controllers are air traffic controllers for the military, because the companies like, it's easier to just pick up people who do this exact same thing but for military purposes and then just readjust them to civilian purposes and throw them in the same thing. Other than that, it takes like hundreds of hours or hundreds of days to train up somebody for it. There's like a whole pipeline for it that Obama started fucking up with in the past, and we're only now just like trying to get back under. In any case, you could also privatize air traffic controllers, but then they could possibly go on strike. And then that would cause a whole lot of problems. But at least then it's not like you're not blaming the government over this shit. So, what's the deal? The compromise avoids immediate fights over expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies and immigrant health funding, while promising future Senate vote on extending ACA tax credits amid Democratic demands to protect health care for 240 million Americans. Federal workers will receive back pay The deal, though the deal faces Democratic system as capitulations to the Republican praise for fiscal restraint. Well, it looks like the Republicans played chicken hard enough, and they won. Pathetic, this isn't a deal, it's surrender, don't bend the knee. Governor Newsom press office. Alright, so it looks like... So I guess it means they passed the clean resolution from the House, but what, we're supposed to get a deal in the future? But any bill relating to government funding has to originate in the House, so who even knows if Speaker Johnson's going to want to play ball with that. Senate's plan to reopen the government, which gives no money to illegals or Obamacare. Who is this guy? Is he on Timcast? Fox News, Timcat. Alright, fucking follow him, whatever. Watcher Guru. Sure. Or money to Obamacare. Remember, half of what Obamacare was a giant Medicaid expansion, so boosted, you know, how low the income can be to qualify for Medicaid. So I doubt that funding's going away. At least 10 Democrats already on board with the end of their shutdown. Hold the line, do not give in to Schumer's demands. 10, their shutdown, a vote expected. All right, White House, terminate the filibuster to take our country back, approve voter ID, make America great again. Again, people were bringing up like, oh, end the filibuster on the shutdown. And I'm like, Scott Greer said this, and I agree with it. Do not get rid of the filibuster just to end the government, the shutdown. Like, if you're going to say we're going to end the filibuster, you better have a raft of fucking bills that you are going to push, that we are ready to push through. Push through the Senate. Something on immigration. Something on tariffs. To please Trump and his tariff mania. Immigration overhaul. I don't know. Freedom of speech applied to the internet. Like somehow making the First Amendment apply to social media companies. Something like that. What else? Oh, actually pushing through like congressional legal clarification that a natural born citizen does not excludes people born to illegal immigrants and people here on a temporary basis, which should be consistent with the what was that? U.S. versus not Arthur Quan Lee. Who was it? There's some Chinese guy. Whatever. I am thirsty. That's just what's going on. Jean Shaheen, proud from New Hampshire. So somebody from Maine and somebody from New Hampshire caved. I guess I'll follow them. And Maggie Hansen, New England sports fan from New Hampshire. So the two New Hampshire senators plus a Mainer. So it was like it's a New Englander revolt against the rest of the Democratic Party. Who's the other senator from New York? Is it still Kirsten Gillibrand? Or did she leave? I don't know. There's Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts, Bernie from Vermont, and there's somebody else from Vermont who I don't know. Connecticut's got Dick Blumenthal and Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy is he's like the champion for gun control in the Senate. He's also grown out a beard since when he was first elected in like 2014. He's going up against Linda McMahon from WWE, of all people. Connecticut is a blue-run fucking state. That's all I'll say. I have met Dick Blumenthal. Actually shook his hand when I was at a Memorial Day parade somewhere when he was showing face. But man, these senators, these congressmen, they are able to dip in and out real quick from any sort of events. I even saw that with what's his face, Dan Crenshaw. Like I was at some events up in Kingwood, northeast of Houston. I was at some event where there was a parade float for some Republican group. I only ended up there because of some guy I made acquaintance with on Instagram. I don't want to say full-on friend. I was actually at his Wounded Warrior Project 5K in-person walkathon. It was like a 5K walk in honor of Wounded Warriors, but you also like are supposed to be fundraising. You're like encouraged to get a certain goal, but I just paid the full like 150 that you're supposed to raise to. I could have like told my parents or my family like, hey, anybody else want to donate in my name to this project? And I'd walk the 5K and ooh boy, my flat feet were hurting me. I don't know what it was I probably need. Here's the thing. I don't think insoles would help. I think I just need better cushioning or take out the sole inserts in the boots I went with. Other people ran it. I just marched it. I just wanted to walk because I'm coming off of COVID, so maybe you can hear it in my nasal passage right now, even though I really sound like I have a deviated septum coming through the audio right now. All right. Reached a deal to end the government shutdown. So, as much as like Schumer is supposed to lead the Democratic caucus, ultimately, parties in America do not have as much power over their members as they do in European countries, where they can straight up kick you out of the party if you violate the line. We saw this when Boris Johnson was elected prime minister after Theresa May was resigned. And so he said, all right, we're going to pass this no deal or something. And a bunch of like conservative MPs, like I think maybe a third or a quarter of them said, no, we're not going to stand for this. And he said, I'm bringing this to a vote. If you don't, you're out. It triggered an election, but then he won by a landslide. So he was able to win in the face of all these people who revolted against him, including a member who was a descendant of Winston Churchill. He booted a grandson of Winston Churchill out of the Conservative Party to bring everyone in line with whatever was going on with the Brexit deals at that point. But here in the US, you got enough resources, you can run your own campaign to, one, get the Democratic nomination, and then win the election after that. So I think these guys, I guess, are feeling strong enough that they're not going to face Democratic pushback in the Senate, although, I don't know. Let me ask this question. Senators named who heard this deal, the deal. You can't see how bad my typing is right now. Deal. When are their terms up for their when are their terms up? Because if like they got reelected this past election cycle, they can say like, I don't have to worry about this for 4 more years. I don't have to answer questions for another 5 years. So people will probably forget it. Angus King, who caucuses with Democrats, he's from Maine, but he's an independent. Interesting. These former governors. Okay. Securing commitment from at least 8 Senate Democrats to provide the necessary procedural votes for advancement. Now it's like Tim Kaine and John Fetterman have signaled support or defected to back the deal, but they weren't the core backers. Figures like Chuck Schumer and Gary Peters were involved in a proposed, but not the final brokered agreement. Next election is, okay, so Jean Sahin, in a year's time, she could like face heat for this. But then again, this the government shutdown, what, like, if you're not flying and you're not a government worker, it's kind of the thing that you're not the most like concerned with. It's not something you're like super concerned with. Maggie Hansen, she's got 5 years. People are gonna forget about this shit. There's like some ancient text that we actually found of somebody, of some public senator, I don't remember. I don't know if it was Cato or, no, I think it was Cicero writing to a relative like how you should campaign. And he said, promise everything, deliver what you can, but by the time it comes for re-election, everyone's gonna fucking forget. So promise as much as possible. Maybe that's too cynical for Cicero. Angus King, current term ends January 3rd, 2025. Recently elected, new term starts. What the fuck? It ends this year? Starts January 2025. That was earlier this year. Man, Grok, your clock is maxed up. So, he was elected in 2024, so he's got till 2032. What the fuck was this? Term technically ended January 3rd, 2025, but he won re-election in November 24. So his new term, why does that not also apply to Maggie Hansen? What the fuck is Grok smoking here? His potential re-election pressure, especially Shaheen in the competitive 2026 element shutdowns follow. The deal is set for a Senate procedural vote as early as November 9th. evening, with final passage expected soon after, pending House approval. What do you mean House approval? Well, Trump says he's on board with it, so I guess Johnson's going to take his cue from that. So, all right. Pantheon's concrete outlasts modern versions. Does it? Colorado Brittany Pedersen blames policies for ski worker shortage. Oh yeah, this is something interesting. And I've known this when I was in Colorado. I actually met an Argentinian woman who was working there as staff at a ski resort. This is a minor one that my sister worked out, hence why I was there. She was also voted for Malay, but then again, she looked like she was didn't have the most Native American heritage or Amerindian heritage. So I'm not saying like all politics in Argentina is race-based, since it's probably like 80%, like the average for European admixture in the country is about like 80%. But criticized President Trump. So Colorado Rep. Brittany Pedersen criticized President Trump's tightened immigration rules for causing delays in J1 visa processing, with 60% of the state's ski resorts rely on seasonal workers in places like Aspen and Vail. Industry reports confirm heightened vetting and consulate staffing cuts have left positions unfilled ahead of 2025-26 season, threatening tourism that drew 264.4 million visitors last year. Online backlash accused the resorts of exploiting foreign labor to undercut American wages amid corporate consolidation in the sector. Oh yeah, so I didn't think about it, but, you know, maybe also, you know, this is fucking with the local economies for lifties and snowboard instructors. I can actually DM this to myself. Oh no, wait, hold up. I'm on the wrong account. Oh, but I'm gonna lose that fucking story, aren't I? Let me DM this to myself. I'm gonna text it to my sister and say, like, because I want to know how many of the instructors that she worked with were foreign. How many of the instructors at ski resort, I reserve the right to not say. Then again, perhaps here's an argument. As we often see with other parts of the country, rural areas continue to depopulate as all economic opportunity keeps on swelling towards metro areas. Maybe the areas around ski resorts are seeing rural depopulation. That means that the local young population that they used to be able to rely on is starting to disappear or dry up, so the need for foreign workers. I still don't know what a J1 visa is. I don't really give a shit about ski resorts. They used to employ locals, then they got bought out by giant conglomerates, fired the locals, and exploited visas to import slave workers. They're not slaves. They're probably paying them less. Because, again, this is the whole thing about employment-based immigration or visas, is it puts way too much power in the corporation's hand. Maybe you can, so here's the, so this is the idea I've heard in a different set, is that The visa should apply to the immigrants and maybe give them some leeway time for like, all right, if they don't like working at their employer, they can leave and they've got like a latitude of like 5 years to stay in the country. They can have a latitude of like 5 years to stay in the country. Or, you know, if you quit, you got like a year to reload. You got a year to pick up employment somewhere else to continue staying in the country up to the end of the visa. So you have to apply. And you have to have a company who's sponsoring you for the first time. So we have to know that somebody wants to hire you and bring you to the US. Then there should be tons of other requirements, which I won't get into, but like some of them should be like some level of intelligence testing. Like, okay, are you actually that good? You're like, if we're gonna bring you in, like your IQ or some other metric should be like 1 standard deviation above the US general population to be worth it. Or maybe even 1.5 or 2 above. Like you should be really somebody special to get in. But on top of that, you need the employer, and then once you get that, you get 5 years to work in the country. But it's not tied to a specific company. So if you don't like what happens when you get to that company, you give some freedom to leave, and then you are given a 1-year grace period to pick up employment somewhere else. Now, if you lose your income, that or like you get kicked out of your apartment. And then, like, if you know, like, you end up like becoming homeless and picked up on the street somewhere as a vagrant, like, no, you're out. Or like, you show up at like a homeless shelter. It's just like, well, why haven't you found work? Oh, it's been too hard. All right. If you can't support yourself, you're going back. If you can find an employer in that grace period time without like ending up on the streets, you can continue working for the next 5 years and then reapply. I hope the shareholders suffer. Overwhelming backlash. All right, well, that's your interpretation. All right. U.S. tech workers. I got blocked by them on a previous sock account. So this tweet perfectly illustrates how appeals to social justice are often used to mask policies that advance corporate power and labor exploitation. Private equity consolidation in the ski industry has caused consumer cost. Let's see here. Consumer costs to skyrocket, eroded local resort cultures, and replaced local staff with low-wage seasonal labor hired through J-1 visa program, a non-immigrant culture exchange program that in practice functions as a cheap labor pipeline with minimal wage enforcement and exemptions from FICA taxes. I don't know what FICA is. To conceal this crony capitalist, Rob Peterson instead frames the issue as attack on immigrants, which J-1 visa holders are not, and has chosen to side with private equity firms. No, maybe she's actually getting bankrolled by them. Is she a Democrat? Colorado can be mixed, because like Lorena, what's her name? Boebert, whatever her name is. She's from Colorado, but then you also have like Queer City is like too much for Denver, but it definitely has a lefty hipster progressive vibe to it, having been there. Actually, I haven't been much around Denver. Boulder definitely is. Boulder definitely fucking is hipster, progressive, lefty central. I've been around enough of that place. It's a nice enough town. I also saw a group of like 4 youngsters like completely rob some poor woman of her basement. Now, before you like judge me as a man for not intervening, it took me like a solid 5 seconds to figure out what the hell even happened, because that's how fast they operated. And I was like a good 7 yards away from them while it happened. They come up on some old woman, grabbed her purse, and busted around a corner all the way down. And some guy already called the police. Probably nothing ever happened, but it was just like, you know, I heard a commotion, we looked over what was going on. And like my brain just did not process fast enough whatever happened. Like me and my dad were there and just like, what? Wait, what's that? Oh, and by the time we realized that they were stealing from the woman, they had already bolted off, and there's no way we were gonna catch them. Like if it happened like right next to us, like one, they probably might have like tried to steal something from us as well. But then again, maybe, you know, me and my dad and with my mom could have like intervened. Like, no, get the fuck down. And who knows? It could have gotten ugly. Maybe they would have had things, but. Yeah, with Boulder, like towards the night, all the vagrants start going to what's called Pearl Street, which is a giant walkable street with tons of stores along it. It's a very nice place. If it wasn't for fucking vagrants, but apparently the police show up in the morning and start rounding them up and then push them out somewhere else, but then won't force them into like, you know, homeless shelters because they're probably half the time on drugs. Have you considered hiring Americans? Again, there is probably something to be said that rural depopulation is probably not helping in this issue. Americans used to work ski resorts. Christina Pouchot apparently is a... Oh, she even says in her thing, Team Governor Ron DeSantis, but she's like one of his online surrogates. This is like the first time I've ever properly looked at her profile. I didn't realize she was blonde. I thought she was brunette. Whatever. Would happily work there in exchange for a livable wage and lift tickets. And lift tickets. I don't know what the rule is about, like, you know, how much employees can grift off the system themselves. Several years ago, the private equity firm started buying up all ski resorts and 10 timesing the prices. I was surprised to see Democrats complaining that those investors might... Now, to be fair, I went to a ski resort in... whatchamacallit? Oregon, out in the Rockies. Very nice place from what I remember. I was only there once. And apparently it was collectively owned by families around them and run as a public good, so they don't... It's run like a corporation, but they don't intend to make profit. So they like basically run it as enough to keep it operating after it and don't expect profit. So it was like community run in some way. So you could get that. So those are ways to operate it, depending on how you're up to. But you need people committed to that mission. Operate because of cheap foreign labor. Your business should not exist. Maybe allowing monopoly to control all the ski mounts or replace college kids' ski patrols with foreign slave labor. Okay, foreign slave labor is getting a little bit too extreme, but hey, it's Twitter. Deport the foreigners to free up some housing and pay Americans. Yeah, like this is a pain for like when my sister was living out there, when she was trying to go to college. Was finding a place for her to rent was a pain. And she was, all right, give a little bit something away. She went to UC Boulder, and the ski resort she went was a bit up ways into the mountains. So it was a good like 45-minute drive every morning. But, you know, she did it. Good on her for long commute and, you know, environmentally taxing job operating in cold mountains. Snow mountains with physical enduring activities that need physical endurance. And pay Americans who work there to live nearby. So, but then also I ask the question: where the fuck are these locals living? Because if you're not hiring like the local kids who can probably live out of probably living with their parents at a certain point, where is it? And I've been to some of these towns; they're pretty bare bones. So, like, there aren't massive apartment complexes near these places. They're very small rural towns. So. Yeah, because Americans don't want to do super fun seasons. I mean, being a lifty isn't necessarily the most fun. It probably can be a little bit monotonous, perhaps. Exactly, nobody believes this. Just another bot. All right, so. Used for seasonal foreign workers has faced new delays in tightening vetting ahead of the winter season. So, well, I guess my sister got out of it before seeing any of the complications that come with it. Is a non-immigrant visa. Important point to note. So what is that? Is an H-1B? It's also cultural exchange, not foreign ski resort slave labor. So apparently that's what the point of J1 is. Cultural exchange. To study, train, or teach. Study, train, or teach. Are you really doing much study, training, or teaching while you're being a lifty? If I haven't made it clear what the term a lifty, it means the people who operate the ski lifts that take you up the mountain. Ski worth this winter. Why are you trying to reduce his salary and take his job by allowing... here's Jeremy Carl, good person. Go follow him. I listened to the audiobook version of his book, The Unprotected Class. Why are you trying to reduce his salary to take his job, allowing mega corporations to import cheap foreign labor? Yeah, so I want to bookmark this tweet so I can send to my sister link, also DM it to myself. All right. At 50 minutes, I don't know, go to Clash Report, see if there's anything last minute things that are happening. Oh. I also haven't eaten dinner, but I'm just really not hungry. I didn't have breakfast, then I went out into this place called Whiskey Cake, which is sort of like a comfort food place. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it's something like the next Yard House chain or whatever. Regardless, I had some decent fries. I had some... I'm waving my hand in front of my face and it's really fucking with the rigging. I'm not moving my face at all, I'm just waving my fingers. My spaced out fingers in front of my eyes, and it's messing me up. That's weird. Where did I leave off from this morning? Looking at this on my own time. Alright, let's not go too far. Turkish President Erdogan. Our recent talks with President Trump on the F-35, we made good progress. I hope promises will be kept. Alright, it's already one with a Turkish seal on it. Don't give it to him. Don't give the F-35 to the Turks. Give them to the Greeks exclusively. Erdogan, after a victory, winds of peace are blowing, and as Turkey, we are pleased. We are conducting a normalization process with Armenia in coordination with Azerbaijan. Alright. We'll see if it holds in Armenia, because I don't know if their politics in Armenia is willing to accept this, as perhaps their president wants. High-level Turkish delegation will visit Pakistan this week to help advance Pakistan-Afghanistan ceasefire talks. Aiming to secure a lasting peace deal, President Erdogan said. Oh, we'll visit Pakistan. So they're trying to mediate a deal between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Interesting. Excuse me for a second. Just readjusting like my fucking shorts. Russia's released Su-57 promo footage. Oh look, it can do vertical ascent like an F-15. There it goes, ripping through the air. Is this slowed down? Oh, it's got a concealed weapons bag. Interesting. Hold on for a second. I'm looking up because I think somebody I remember somebody did a roast on this. Damn it. Damn, where the fuck was it? Was it on Twitter I saw it? How much do I have far back in my fucking bookmarks when I have to go? Damn, how far am I gonna have to go back for this shit? I have way too many fucking bookmarks. I have some folders to categorize them, and there is a search function in there, but goddamn, it's so little. And who knows, maybe they count that I found it. Damn, holy shit, I'm only getting to bookmarks for the beginning of this fucking year. Now, let's go to one of my other sock accounts. Maybe I found it there. Hold up. I'm still looking. Well, let me see. Wait. All right, well, I found it. Give me a second while I send this through a chain of shit to get to me. It was from just this year, so hold up. I'm sending it from one stock account to another. Oh, well, that's good enough. All right. Let's see here. Oh, wait, open it up on this.
Call this a contested airspace? Oh, there's going to be a contest, all right. A contest to see who can eat the most rounds from my Gatling gun. Guess what? You win. Or maybe it's a contest to see who can copy the F-22 Raptor the worst.
So if that's Raptor, that's the Chinese, I don't know what. It's got canards, and canards are gay. And then, I don't know, this one strikes me more as like F-15-esque.
Oh, wow, big surprise you win again. At least Chengdu had the decency to slap on fucking canards and use a Delta Wing when they copied the Raptor to at least put up the pretense of having an original design. I suppose your giant fucking engine assemblies is a unique twist to the concept of